What's wrong with you people?
Welcome to Not Another Baptist Podcast. My name is Matt Henslee, coming to you live from Farmersville, Texas, and I'm joined by Kyle, non-alcoholic beerman, all the way from Alpharetta, Georgia.
Yep.
Hey, at Texas Baptist College, you'll find a community that is committed to help you succeed wherever God calls you. And when you attend Preview Day on March 22nd, you'll see firsthand everything that TBC has to offer. Preview Day is the perfect opportunity to explore campus, meet current students, and learn how you will fit in at TBC. Sign up for free at texasbaptistcollege.com/NAB. Kyle, a few things have happened since our last recording last year.
Yeah, that's right. We have not recorded since the first of the year, and yeah, you had a bit of an announcement that came out.
A little bit. I am now the lead pastor of Plymouth Park Baptist Church in Irving, Texas. You are still the rural replant specialist, something other, whatever your title is for the North American Mission Board. You're still born. I'm making a change. I am stepping down as the executive director, DOM, of the Collin Baptist Association at the end of the month, or we've got some stuff in February to knock out with our youth weekend, some of that. But I'll be starting as the pastor of Plymouth Park Baptist in Irving. February 4th will be my first Sunday. We close on a house February 1st. I'm still wondering if I can go out of town again so that Bart can be my power of attorney and sign 1,000 times, Matthew Scott Henslee by Christopher Bart Barber, attorney in fact, or whatever it was that he had to sign a gazillion times. But he's already told me no. But I'm excited. We can talk about this a little bit, in my role as the AMS. I loved it. I love encouraging pastors. I also encouraged pastors when I was in Mayhill, and that's one of the reasons that drew me to that role. And as kind of a paid Barnabas of pastors, if you will, I got to preach most every week, which was great. But some of the stuff that I missed was kind of the Monday through Saturday pastoring. As far as the home visits, the hospital visits, being the one that gets the call when a baby is born or somebody is, passing away, or that sort of thing. I was missing that, and I missed it a lot more than I thought I would. But I kind of fought against that by just working harder, staying busier, all of that kind of stuff, and really trying to press in my work here at Farmersville. But this was kind of one of those opportunities that just sort of happened. Wasn't one that I pursued or whatever. They'd been looking for, almost a year, and it went from 0 to 100 very quick. Really what started with a church revitalization consultation and just progressed very fast from here's what you need to do to, will you do it for us? Yeah. And so we're excited. Plymouth Park has a connection to Farmersville. You might not, because you're Kyle Bierman, but many in the Southern Baptist Convention may know of Dick and Bo Baker, are kind of the first sons of Farmersville. Maybe we could call it the Trinity of Farmersville famous, with Audie Murphy. And the two of them, they were the famous evangelists of the kind of the youth revival movement years and years ago. And so they're both musicians. I obviously haven't met them, and I can't. They're gone. That was weird. Anyway, they passed on now, but musicians, evangelists, all of that sort of deal. Bo was one of the pastors for many years at Plymouth Park, and Dick was the music minister at Prestonwood way back in the day. And I think their final service was together at First Baptist Farmersville. So we still have a number of relatives and people that knew them, and there's still some people that knew them, connected to them in the church when they were there. But Plymouth Park, did run, well over 1,000 during those years, and was averaging 902 people in 2005. By 2015, they had dropped to 616, and over the past few years, they dropped down to the 200s, and 2022 was 255 with 3 baptisms. So that's kind of right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And so excited about that. There's an excitement there. Sunday, well over 350 people had gathered to worship. I think some may be coming for the train wreck to see what, what was going to happen.
100%. Yeah.
How
Couldn't
many
look
times
away.
is he going to mention Whataburger in the pulpit? That sort of deal. But it was a great weekend. So
Yeah.
if you want to hear about that, I can share that.
Yeah, man, just really excited for you. I've been, informed of this. We talked about this for a while, obviously before you made it public, and so I've been praying for you and just really excited about this opportunity. And Plymouth Park is still larger than normative size church, but as we talk and look at the statistics, somewhere between 80 and 90%, depending on who you look at, 80 to 90% of churches are either plateaued or declining and in need of some form of revitalization. That's true of churches of 30, and that's true of churches of 200, 250. And in fact, there's probably some churches of 1,200 that are in need of
Yeah.
revitalization.
Yeah.
And so, I think one of the things that I've really began looking at, just in my work at NAM and then through my years of pastoring is really focusing more on church health than church size. And
Mhm.
so, you know this because you've been there. You can have a healthy church of 30 people that's making disciples, that's reaching its community, particularly in a small rural spot. And you can have a healthy church of 3,000 people. And the inverse is also true. You can have a really unhealthy church of 30 people, and you can have a really unhealthy church of 3,000. And so, I'm excited to see you go there and really, try to bring some health and praying for growth.
Yeah. Yeah,
But you told me,
I
yeah.
preached Abraham and Sarah's story with
Mm.
you're going to have a baby, and she's like, I'm too old. And a buddy of mine was like, bro, are you really doing that with a elderly congregation? And I was like, I am. I can and I will.
Yep.
But one of the things that I shared in there is, at under a quarter of the size of it once was, how did I word it? I don't know if God desires for this church to run, 900 or 90.
Yeah.
But I do know, laughing at a God who could very well bring 9,000 into this building is a silly proposition. And so I encourage them to just pray big prayers, believe big promises. Let's be faithful and trust that unknown future. We don't know what the future holds,
Yeah.
but to the one who holds it, and just trust him and believe him for big things. And so just dealed a whole lot of hope on Sunday, that we do serve a God of the impossible. And whether you feel you're too young, you're too old, the building too old, too in disrepair, whatever it might be, whatever church that is listening to this, whatever you think seems like that impossible situation, just through the course of this process of what amounts to about maybe now 5 weeks that this whole thing really took off, for us. Um, were simply impossible obstacles that God didn't just kind of alleviate, but totally removed. And I've like written all of those down as like answers to prayer and so forth. Just when, a year, 2 years from now, when the honeymoon's over, whatever it might be, and I'm maybe doubting whatever else, I can look back at those and say, this is what God did to bring you here. And just as a reminder, but we're excited. The girls are excited. They're going to have a pool, so they're really excited about that, and have
I'm
already,
excited. I'm going to come see you now
yeah,
because
they've already,
you're also going to be a lot closer to Globe Life Field. And man, yes, I will be coming to see the Hensleys very often.
yeah. So I did, as I was leaving Colin, we had a benefactor, supporter, whatever you want to say, give us season tickets for the Rangers to use there. And I am kind of sad to lose those because I was excited to go quite often to the one-time World Series champions.
Just have PPBC join the Colin Baptist Association. You know, tell Ryan Jesperson, Ryan, sorry, but for this year, we're going to join the Colin Baptist
Yeah,
Association. So
yeah.
I can.
We're excited. Those of you that are listening in, I'm sure we'll be giving some updates. But excited to get back in the saddle of a lead pastor role, and a lot of potential there, a lot of excitement among the church members. So we're pumped, and we're looking forward to the new year. So this is a quite literal new year, new me, because it's going to be right back into it. So we're pretty
Yeah,
pumped. So
yeah. Well, you know, like I said, I'm excited. As somebody who just moved last year, moved to a new house. I don't envy that at all. So Godspeed in the next, 3 or 4 weeks as y'all pack up and move, um, and move across town in some ways, right?
yeah,
So
pro
yeah, there.
pro tip, real quick. One of the best things you can do is have to stage your house in the process of moving. That's a whole lot of
Oh,
fun. But I'll tell you,
yep,
if you leverage it really well, you can get rid of some stuff because after doing that, and our house is much more barren, but very organized and all of that,
yep,
we've got a lot of stuff in the garage that I'm like, hey, that's been up
yep.
for a few weeks. We haven't missed it at all. Can we
Yeah,
just
that's right. Yeah,
so
it was very weird. Like, oh, all this stuff is in the garage, and yeah, we live just fine without
yeah, yeah.
it.
So well, dude, tell us real quick why you're in Alpharetta and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so every January, NAM staff comes to Alpharetta for what we call Alpharetta Week. And it's really just it's a time to get a lot of our staff in the same room for a little bit, and then our individual teams have meetings, and so um, we spent a couple of days with the replant team together, kind of thinking and dreaming through the new year. At the end of October, we had, or excuse me, at the end of September, we had a transition in our team that my boss, Bob Bickford, moved to a new new career in Nashville with a company called 313 that is still involved in church revitalization. But that means I got a new boss. A guy that I'd worked with is now my boss. And so this was really kind of our second meeting with him as the boss. He's been there a few months. And so just, transitioning and making some changes on our team. One of the cool things we got to do is Richard Blackaby came up on one of these days. They're all blurring together
Yeah.
now. But spent about an hour and a half with our team, and I just invested in us, and that was very cool. Just to be able to visit with him and have him pray over us and us pray over him, and it was a great experience, just being encouraged. And so, I mean, listen, if you followed the work of the replant team at all, we've got some really exciting things happening. Yesterday, we recorded the 100th episode of the Revitalize and Replant podcast with Mark Clifton. And so that'll go live later on this year. And then just made some, plans for events. The one that I'm most excited about is our Rural Summit. We're doing that for the second year in Salina, Kansas. So listen, it's a rural summit. We are in a rural spot,
Yeah.
and that's March 14th and 15th. So maybe there's some listeners to this that are interested in that. You can check it out at nam.net/replant. You can scroll down and find the Rural Summit there. Myself, Mark Clifton, and Andy Addis will be there at Salina, Kansas, just pouring into some rural pastors, rural church leaders. We started it last year, had a lot of fun. And Matt, I had everything planned out. This was going to be great. That's happened a lot lately. If you follow my social media at all, you know my wife and I had a trip to San Antonio that, man, I decided we were going to fly, which was great until our last flight got canceled. And we had to drive home at the last minute. But last year, man, I had everything planned out for this Rural Summit. It was great. I was like, man, we're going to be at this campsite or this camping conference center. We're going to do a bonfire, and we're going to roast marshmallows, and we're going to have a hymn sing. Like, it's going to feel like RA camp, right? I mean, it's going to be fantastic. and then the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And so the camp nixed the bonfire for obvious reasons, not wanting to start a wildfire. So my prayer, my deep hope for this year is that the wind isn't blowing. We're able to do the bonfire and have him sing. So
is the wind ever not blowing there though?
Not when I've been there. It's like, I mean, look, I live in West Texas, which is known for our wind. But it was bitterly cold and windy, and I'm not a fan of those combinations at all.
All right. Well, Kyle, it's good to see you.
Good to
Look
see you,
forward to
man.
seeing you again soon, next week. So until then, may your coffee be as black as night and as bold as the gospel we declare.
What's wrong with you people?